Well, it's a great honor for me today because I get to bring to you someone super, super special who's been in this industry for quite some time. We're going to get to know her. We're going to get to know about her leadership skills, about her team, and just about who she is as a person and how she started off from little bitty to right now. So, Ashley,
Hi,
it's so good to have you with us.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you, especially last minute, being willing to fill in and do this podcast with us.
Thanks. I'm honored.
Tell me a little bit about Ashley from the beginning. What was life like for you as a child?
Yeah. Oh, a child, huh? All the way at
let's
the
go
beginning.
all the way back.
I had a good childhood, super lucky. I was born in Santa Fe. Grew up in Farmington, New Mexico, right on the river, on some land in the country, and always, I'm not really much of a small town girl, so always wanted to move around. I moved to Germany by myself when I was 13.
What?
Yeah, just wanted an adventure. My parents were always super supportive of my adventurous heart. I went to 13 schools between kindergarten and high school graduation, all by the choice of my own. My parents only moved from Santa Fe to Farmington, but I bounced around a lot because I like to meet new people and build new relationships. Very fitting for my real estate career. I moved to California when I was 16 so that I could graduate there and get in-state tuition to go to a UC school. Graduated from UC Davis, got my degree in city planning, was a city planner in California. Decided, why did I ever leave New Mexico? What a special place, Came back, realized I needed to be an entrepreneur and got into real estate. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so just that was an awful lot to unpack. The fact that you said you got into real estate, you knew you needed to be an entrepreneur, and then you got into real estate. I don't think most people think of real estate as being an entrepreneur, which is a bad mistake, but why is that a mistake?
Because you really are in charge of your own business, and looking at my history, even when I was in high school, my parents said, sure, you can move to California. You have to support yourself, at 16. So I figured it out really quickly. And I taught private swim lessons in people's backyard. In college, all my friends were making $12 an hour at the bookstore. I was making $17 an hour as a nanny. So I always kind of figured it out, a way to survive and thrive. And I think for me, real estate was kind of the natural progression because in my city planning field, I always worked in housing specifically. So it was kind of like, okay, how do I meld my entrepreneurial heart and my love for housing? And it was kind of a natural fit. So,
oh, wonderful.
Yeah, people don't think of it, but they should.
Well, how much of selling real estate, if someone thinks I'm going to be a realtor,
right?
That's an employee mindset?
Absolutely.
So how does someone, what piece of advice would you give someone who says, I want to be a realtor?
Oh, I give this advice quite often, and the first thing I think is really taking charge of yourself and your own mentality, your own destiny. That's the beauty of our job. And my first mentor, Mike Carter, expressed this to me. The great thing about real estate is if you want to take your family on a vacation or you want to buy another car, all you have to do is put your mindset in the right place to work a little bit harder, a little more direct. How are you going to get more listings, find more buyers, And so I think as far as advice for the new realtor, it's really, and that falls into mindset, which is my favorite topic ever. You have to have the mindset of where you're going, and be really clear in the direction that you want to go and how you're going to run your business. Because if you are truly just a salesperson, that's only going to take you so far. But if you think of this in a bigger picture of running a business, that's where, the sky's the limit, really.
Okay. So you mentioned mindset. How do you, would you agree that it's a little harder right now in these current times? We're halfway through 2022.
Yeah.
To keep yourself up, how do you do it?
Yeah, absolutely. And just to be completely transparent with you, the first quarter of this year I was in the hardest place I've ever been in terms of my mindset. I could not shake it. Usually, I'm like, oh, I'm not getting enough exercise, or I'm not eating right or sleeping right. Something's off and I can adjust it. Well, I was at this point where I was doing all of the things right and I couldn't get into flow. I just could not get my mentality in a place where I felt, how do I describe this? I couldn't quite get back on the path of, you know how it is in our business. People want to talk to you. You need to talk to people. So do you answer the phone? Hello, good morning, or hey, and I was in the hey for about 3.5 months to a point where I got with a doctor and I'm like, I think I might need to get on something, and I actually didn't choose to go that route. I chose to go to an event. For me, that was a ninja event, and kind of shake my core again and say, okay, why am I doing this, right? And for me, it's always coming back to that why. Why are you doing this? And digging deep, because if I'm not deeply connected to my why, I can't stay motivated in this business, especially in this type of market when everybody seems to be a little more on edge. Sellers are a little grumpier. Buyers are more tense because they've already written 3 offers and lost. Everybody's energy has just been a little tenser. And I will tell you, I got sucked into that for a little bit, and popping out of it was the greatest thing for me. And what really did it for me was listening to the right things. So I was very focused on the external. So the sleep, the diet, the exercise, right? And what I realized is my mental diet wasn't on point. I was listening to the wrong things and not enough of the good things, So I got back to putting the good stuff in, and it shifted. I've been on this high for like the last month and a half of just like, let's go, So I'm really excited about that.
Gosh, Ashley, thank you so much for sharing your heart. Yeah. Because for someone who looks up to you and admires you and says, wow, someday I can be like Ashley, to hear that you struggle.
Yeah.
I mean, so we all do. So don't beat yourself up. Yes. Steps. I'm in a funk right now. You're talking to somebody and they're doing everything right. Like you said, you can't say you're not sleeping or you're eating crap or you're drinking too much or whatever. What do you say to them?
I think it all begins with clarity and awareness. If you don't know what's going on internally in your own relationship with yourself, it's very, very difficult to pinpoint what's happening, right? So for me, it really started with clarity as to why, because there wasn't really any clear explanation as to why I was feeling that way, And so I got really clear on what I was experiencing. And I can honestly say everything I was going through started with my thought process. And when I started listening to my thoughts, and it took me about 5 years of conscious effort to listen to my thoughts. I never knew how to do that, And so once I started really listening to my thoughts, the rhetoric I was hearing in myself was scarcity. There's not enough listings. The inventory's low. Buyers are overpaying, right? All this rhetoric, teams, people are coming and going. And those are the messages I was sending myself every day. And so, through some serious meditation, breath work, changing those thought patterns, there's enough for all of us. There's plenty of inventory. How blessed we are to live in such a stunning city here in Albuquerque. And our economy is growing. People are moving here. Prices are increasing because our economy is thriving. Like, that's all we can hope for as business owners here, And when I changed those thought patterns, everything else just follows, right? Because we start with clarity, which leads to our thoughts, which leads to our habits, which leads to our action, which builds our character, right? And so right now I had to retrain the thought. The habits are quickly following, and now I feel my character shifting in terms of my role in the community. So I'm excited about that. Yeah.
Gosh, there's so much there. This is just so exciting for you to be so real with us. And when you start to feel it, let me just put it this way. If I was to talk to you, or anyone was to talk to you the way you used to talk to you, would you spend any time with us?
Oh, sister, that person would never be invited into my life, Isn't that the craziest thing, the way we talk to ourselves?
It is crazy. So talk to yourself, don't listen to yourself. How did you do it? Like literally say someone comes to you and they're saying, I'm in a funk and I don't know what to do. What's step one?
Step one is definitely, like I said, the clarity. So
how do you get clarity?
Yeah. So I I get it by hiring a really, really good coach, to be honest with you, because, even Tiger Woods has a coach. Like, none of us can do this alone. And if you think you can do it alone and you are doing it alone and you get stuck, you need a coach. So, and if anybody, for you, obviously listening to Kara, there is no better coach, which is why I agreed to sit down and talk to you, because I just respect you so much. So a coach can really help you see your blind spots, and I think once you get to seeing those blind spots, then you can begin to do the work on it. So for me personally, what I've learned about myself is I have to spend the time to visualize what I want my life to look like, right? Early in my career, my first year in real estate, I wanted to make $100,000. That is so much money, right? I wanted to make $100,000. The year after that, my goal was to buy my parents a house, right? And the problem, monetary goals are wonderful and they're great, and that you feel really wonderful when you accomplish them. However, you got to dig deeper. Why do you want to do that? And I got stuck when I kept making these monetary goals with nothing substantial behind them, that I could visualize where that would put me in life. And not me personally, but internally, my feelings. So I've really been practicing this visualization technique, where I visualize where I want my life to go and what my priorities are in my life. And I don't just put a picture with it, but I put a feeling with it so I can feel it deep in my gut. And that is what energizes me to get up every single day and get to the next goal, whatever that may be, And sometimes it is monetary. Honestly, in the last 6 months, it was to be a better mom and spend more time with my 3 young children. And so last year it was to put more energy into my relationship, So that goal can forever change depending on what your priorities are at a particular point in your life.
So I heard a story about you, and
Okay.
I have used this. I hope it's a true story, because in coaching, I've used this story on a lot of people.
Okay.
So please tell me, back me up, that this really did happen.
I'll be honest.
When COVID happened,
Yeah.
and you had 3 small children at home, and you're trying to run a multi-million-dollar business,
Yep.
and the kids are going, "Mom, what about me? What about me?" Is it true that you put up a sign that said Mama's earning money for Disney?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
Yeah, so not so much Disney, because I hadn't even told them about Disneyland yet, because I'm not much of a Disney line, big crowd person.
Gotcha.
But I said California. Like, where do you guys want to go on vacation? My brother and his family live out there. And they said California. We just want to go to the beach. And so, I put, this is how we're going to get there. And I hunkered down in my motorhome on the side of the house because the office was closed. I can't work inside. So I locked myself up in the motorhome, put the sign out there, and would come in for lunch. So there was an alarm in the house. They knew Mom was coming back in. And I've always included my children in, I think this is just a working parent thing in general. How do you teach your kids why you're working so hard? Right? And how do you work so hard and not regret spending more time with your children? And so I have always helped them understand why Mom is working so hard. And at that particular time, COVID, it was, we're going to go to California, right? Right now, it's a bigger legacy. My 8-year-old's dead set on going to medical school. So we have a chart of what the expenses are to get into medical school and what her responsibilities are and how Mom's hard work is helping her achieve her dreams,
Oh my gosh, that's really exciting.
The way I can balance it, I guess,
Wow. Okay, so you have leadership roles in several arenas.
Absolutely.
Talk to me about being a leader.
Leadership is just something I have always been passionate about. I can honestly say, and I've learned this probably in the last 5 to 7 years of my own personal work, learning about myself. I'm just kind of one of those natural born leaders, I would say, hey, let's go over to this slide on the playground. And for some reason, people would follow me. I have no idea why, right? And so when I got into real estate, I learned, I had never known about personal growth and development. Nobody had ever taught me about that. And that was the greatest eye-opening, exhilarating experience of my life. Like, people are actually talking about self-limiting beliefs, and I just was so invigorated by it.
I'm sorry to interrupt,
Yeah.
but where did it start? I mean, like, what was who introduced you to it? Do you remember?
I do. I give a lot of credit to my friend Mike Carter. He's at a competing firm, but he is still one of my dearest friends, and I attribute so much of my mind being open to him, because he really introduced me to a lot of ideas that I had just never considered in my life, and it was just, I took every opportunity. So I will say, if you're new, you look at the calendar every single month, wherever you are, whatever your brokerage is offering. If you have to go outside of your brokerage, you look at a calendar and you figure out who you're going to go listen to speak, because there are so many people out there with great information. And that's what I did my first year. I just went to everything and soaked in a little bit from every single source I possibly could. And yeah, that was my introduction, I would say, to personal growth and development, and it's changed my life.
So you're going to everywhere you can to learn, but now you've hit this level. Are you done learning?
I will never be done. If I'm done learning, just, put some dirt on me and call it my grave, Kara, honestly.
Sure.
Yeah. So no, I learn every day. And that's part of my big why and my mission, is to learn every day. And I mean, you're a perfect example of that. You shared that with me a long time ago in a class, that you're learning every day, and I think, if we're not learning, we're dying.
Oh gosh, yeah. And it's so much fun, isn't it?
It is.
To actually have the answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or to not.
I
mean, it's just as this is a personal thing, and I wonder if we're on the same page. Does it annoy you when someone in some authority is afraid to say, I don't know?
I try. Yes, that's annoying to me. And I also get why people do it. It's their own insecurities if they feel like they can't admit that. So I'm slightly annoyed by it, but I take it more as, wow, that person has a lot to learn yet. I hope they find, that knowledge, because it's okay to say, I don't know. What a beautiful thing. And then you better go find out if you don't know, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, you're hungry to know, instead of, no, here's what we're going to do. And it be totally, completely wrong.
Right.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So leadership is a passion of yours. What are some of your other passions?
Oh, there's a lot of them. I'm very passionate about skiing. So a fun little story for you. I do a life list every year, and I have for the last 9 years, where I write out my big dreams in life, my goals, who I want to be, what I want to give to, what I want to have, and every year for the last 9 years, I have put on my list that I am going to heli ski, drop out of a helicopter and ski in Alaska with a friend. I got a phone call 2 months ago from one of my best friends who said, I just got the trip of a lifetime. We have one more spot in the helicopter. Are you in? So March 2023, I will be checking that one off of my life list. So I'm thrilled about that.
Wait. Just wait. So you have this, you've written it down for all these years.
9 years.
Did that friend know about that?
Nope, sure didn't.
What does that say about manifesting what you want?
Oh, the power of manifestation is so incredibly real. And I am just tapping into the power of it. I've seen it. It's taken almost a decade of it proving itself to me, where I'm writing affirmations for whatever reason every single day, not knowing why, until I look back and say, wow, this has really worked, And I sent her a picture of all of my life lists where I have put that down every single year. And in my head, I just said a good friend. In my head, I never really said her, but I pictured her. And isn't it magnificent that she's the one bringing the opportunity to me?
Did that freak her out as much as it did me?
No, because she is the queen of manifestation. So she, I freaked out. No, was she just she's overjoyed that her philosophy is ringing true and coming to fruition. So it was a beautiful thing.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So I also want to balance this out a little bit.
Sure.
Because you do also have people who believe all you have to do is just sit and think about it, and everything's just going to come to me.
Right. Yeah, that doesn't happen. It is definitely clarity on your thoughts. You think it, you manifest it, and then you have to put it into action. And I've been having this conversation more and more as newer brokers come to me and ask me for, you get to a certain level of experience where more and more people start trusting in your opinions. And this idea, everyone asks me how I got started in real estate, right? Well, I had only lived in Albuquerque for a year and a half when I started my real estate career here. I didn't know very many people. The handful of people I did know were old friends from Farmington, So I had to build my business the old-fashioned way. And that was door knocking, open houses. I mean, I was on the ground, on the pavement, knocking on doors, doing things, as a college graduate and whatnot that I thought I would never do. And once I got over that initial ego of I'm too smart for this, and started seeing paychecks as a result of that door knocking and open house work, this idea that we can just sit and manifest it, or that real estate is just so easy and everything's just going to come to you. Those are typically, the group of 86% that fail in the first 24 months, And
Can you repeat that stat?
Yes,
for the
yes.
camera.
I believe this is an NAR stat. 86% of real estate agents that get into the business are no longer in it after 24 months. 2 years.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's because it's not what people expect it to be,
Right.
I love people and I love showing houses. Great. That's a fantastic place to start. Do you love are you going to be a good boss to yourself? Because nobody's standing over you. Even on my team, I don't stand over my brokers and tell them what to do. I guide them, I help them, but at the end of the day, it is their responsibility to get up, have their task list ready, and knock it out, And I think the other part of it is that people don't realize how much cultivation it takes. So you have to really, dig up the dirt. Plant the seed, put the fertilizer in, put the dirt over the seed, water it every day, and then you start to see the fruits. And my personal belief, because I've watched it year after year, is that at about 18 to 23 months, people get fatigued and they don't see the fruits yet. And so they just that's the point. 24 months, they don't see the seed pop up and they leave. When if they would have just kept pushing for another 6 months, it would have gone. And then how I'm a big gardener. It just starts growing and faster and faster. So, and my other analogy is, getting a real estate business taken off is much like an airplane. You have to go full throttle. So this idea that I'm going to, kind of work part-time, I'm going to be in control of my schedule, those sorts of things, not so much, right? You can control which 10 hours of the day you're going to work early on. And I don't think people are ready to work that hard, and that you have to really have that deep entrepreneurial spirit, I think, to succeed in those first couple of years.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So your team has a huge goal this year.
Pretty big, yeah.
That's $45 million in real estate that you're going to help people obtain and help people sell and help people build wealth.
Yeah.
And you do it almost all by referral. How does that work?
Yeah. We do have a very organic approach, we are in the business of relationships. And so what I teach on my team is every day you wake up and what relationships are you going to foster today? Who are you going to reach out to? Who are you going to deepen a relationship with? And that's how we run our business, and 45 million is a fairly large goal. I follow a lot of people who are doing 200 million, right?
Sure.
So it seems small some days. But the interesting thing is it is all organic. And I think you will find most teams with that goal are buying leads and have other sources, and no issue with that at all. I just have always found that I want to do business with people who know me, like me, and trust me. It makes it fun, and I don't want to do this if it's not fun, And so we Luckily, I was trained very early on to have a very, very good database that you nurture all of the time. And so we are in front of our people all the time. My team provides gifts every month that we give out to our clients. We just did a little crystal for summer solstice, which is next week. So that's beautiful. And a lot of calls and just caring and taking care of people, because if the internet was going to take over our business, it already would have. And the reason it has not is because the internet cannot create relationships with people, and we can. So we work heavily on that and put a lot of focus on our relationships. And that's the feel good stuff too, right? Because when I get to build the relationship with the widow who's lonely right now, and I get to help her, I feel fulfilled beyond the paycheck and beyond the house, right? I get to feel like I'm making an impact and a difference, and that's why I'm here.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being one of those realtors, because we all know, as realtors, we all know that you may have run across a realtor or two that did not have your best interest at heart.
Right.
I kind of like the term transactional, where it's not about the relationship.
Right.
It's about the transaction, and they will get the job done.
Right.
And that will work for a lot of people. However, a full service realtor, like yourself and your team, it's what else do you provide? I mean, what are some of the crazy things that you've done for people over the years, just out of the box?
Oh, man. I have one that comes to mind that's fairly recent, which I'm going to throw out there. It might be a little unorthodox, but we actually helped a client recently who was had a terminal illness and couldn't find access to the right doctors. He wanted to do an assisted suicide, a little contentious, but for him, it was the right choice. And we helped connect him to the right doctor so he could end his life in peace. I mean, crazy. And, do with it what you will. Oh my gosh, it's endless, Kara. One memory that sticks out is pulling a 9-foot pipe out of a crawl space so that we could close the next day, right? Making sure somebody can get something notarized. I see myself as a resource. This client that called me to get something notarized, it was a client from 3 or 4 years ago, the fact that they thought of me is because I'm in front of them. If you ever need anything, So just really trying to be a resource to the community. People underestimate how much reach a real estate agent has. Not because, we're so powerful and we make all this money, but because we have so many relationships within the community. You need the best hairdresser, makeup artist, car dealer. Call me, because I'm going to be the one to connect you to them. And I take those referrals very, very seriously.
Absolutely. When someone refers you, they're putting their own reputation on the line.
Absolutely.
So we're going to put all of Ashley's team, her information on below so that you can call her if there's anything she can do for you. So Ashley, on your mindset, what are some podcasts or books, or who do you recommend that somebody, let's say brand new, somebody who's going, all that stuff is just silly.
Yeah.
They really, really believe, as you did, as I did before we got into it, that stuff is just silly. Who should they start with? What should they do?
Yeah. So there's different podcasts for different things. Mindset stuff for me, and staying up on the market. Yeah, as you know, I'm a huge Buffini. I listen to Buffini that's my regular podcast go-to for sure. I'm a big believer in the Miracle Morning. I give all new agents that come on my team the Miracle Morning because I think it is a great way to get you on track to restart your life, your habits, so that you're headed in the right direction. I try to accomplish more than the average person, and I guess I'm assuming I do. Before 8 o'clock, I've already accomplished more than most people do in their day. So I'm an early riser. And I think, I just have to always lean on Stephen Covey and the 7 Habits of Highly Productive People. You just can't beat that book. And I remember the first time I read it, I'm thinking, okay, he's going to tell me, what time to wake up. And that's the Miracle Morning. Stephen Covey's is just so much deeper in terms of the way we think and how we respond to the world. So I'm a big fan of that. And The Go-Giver, I'm a huge fan of The Go-Giver. I believe it teaches, it's a great little story. You can read it in one afternoon. I think it teaches people how to be the kind of realtor that I would hope everybody in our community would be, which is the one that just takes care of people and does things from a genuine place of caring. So those would be my go-tos: Buffini Podcast, Go Giver, Stephen Covey, and Miracle Morning.
Okay, very cool. Have you read more than one Miracle Morning?
You know, I read the one for realtors, and I just always fall back on the original. I think it's the best, and I would stick with that one. That's the one I give out to people, and I haven't read any beyond that. But I've reread that one numerous times.
Oh, gosh, yeah. Why? Why do you have to read it over again?
Because you can't possibly get everything on the first round, right? It's just like the Ninja installation, Larry Kendall. I have gone to that thing 7 times. It is the exact same information every single time. They'll add a little bit, they'll tweak it a tiny little bit from year to year. And everyone always says that. Why would you keep going? Because what's the good saying? Motivation is like showering. You have to do it daily, right? It washes off you. You get dirty again. You got to keep coming back to it. You know, you can't eat right and work out for 2 months and stay fit for the rest of your life. So everything around your mental and personal growth is the exact same thing. It's an exercise, and you have to keep doing it and keep coming back to it.
Is it surprising to you, or I'm sure it's not now, but when you first started going to conventions where you have to empty the coins of your purse into your mind, it's not it's a commitment.
Absolutely.
Did it surprise you how many top producers that you just like, they towered over what you've accomplished, yet they're there every time?
Yep. And my philosophy then was, if they're doing it, I'm going to do it. And I blindly followed. I don't know why I am spending half of the money in my bank account to go to this thing. I just know that if they're doing it, I'm going to do it. And now I get it, why people keep going to that stuff. And you have to keep learning and growing.
So modeling others.
Absolutely.
So even if you don't understand why it works, someone that you know, trust, and respect says, try it.
Yes.
You try it.
Absolutely. And you do get to a point where your ceiling becomes your floor, and you better create a new ceiling, you know. You have to keep striving if you're wired that way, like I am. I understand not everyone is, but it's kind of like, what's the next goal, you know? And modeling what people are doing. I mean, if you see people around you who are successful, I mean, why is Think and Grow Rich one of the greatest books of all time? Because he took the time to see what all of these successful people were doing and how they got there. And so we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We've been doing this a long time. We can just build on what the other millions and billions of people have done before us. So that's my philosophy.
I love it.
Yeah.
Why Keller Williams?
Sweet KW. The people. I can honestly say the people. And our people, particularly in our office that we get surrounded by every day, if you want to run with some lions, this is the office, you know, and that's what does it for me. I mean, obviously, you know, Gary Keller, phenomenal mind, and love that Smokey's ROP, and there's just Jake is phenomenal. There's such great leadership within this organization, but for me, it's all about, you know, I'm a relationship person, so for me, it's about the relationships I've been able to create in this company.
Absolutely. So Jim Rohn says you become like the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Amen, sister.
So if somebody's out there, and we're not trying to recruit you at the moment, but if somebody's out there and they are kind of curious about, like, what would it be like? You and I both started at the same company.
Yep.
We both have a ton of respect for Mike.
Absolutely.
Great guy. Why would someone from any other company want to join this culture?
There's a level of innovation within this company, forward thinking. You don't have to worry about if they're thinking about what's coming as far as the competition and how teams are structured and how they're already thinking about it 5 years before it's even come on our radar. And I really appreciate that about this company. They offer, the support you get is wonderful. And to the point that I am the type of person that needs to get out and get to these big conferences, hear from the greatest producers and people thinking bigger than me in the world. Where better to do that than the number one company in the United States. I mean, be around the big dogs is always my theory, and KW offers that. It is the place to be. And the splits and all of that, I mean, it is so affordable for what you get, right?
Oh, yes.
The biggest expense you have is the money you never make, right? So I'm not worried about our little franchise fee, and I cap in 30 days every year. So that little fee to me is not a big deal at all compared to what they've afforded me to be able to make and all the tools and resources. I didn't know how to hire people before I came to Keller Williams. I'd never hired anyone in my entire life. Well, I got to go through career visioning 2 times in a row. And every hire I've made after that has been methodical and processed and thought through because Keller Williams has the processes. So I really appreciate that about our company.
Oh my gosh, I do too. And it's unbelievable. And I could go on, but we're not doing that. It's not a Keller Williams commercial. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I was with the 2 biggest companies for 9 years and 9 years. And I've been here for a little over 2. And I was already a self-development junkie.
Yeah.
But I never knew where the rest of my tribe was.
Right.
And now it's like, oh, here they are. I
remember your first month in the office and seeing your face every day just glowing like, here they are.
Yay.
The Kool-Aid tastes so good.
Oh, it is. Yeah, you will get drunk on the Kool-Aid. Just a warning.
Fine.
Just a
it's
warning.
Fine. Good little buzz.
So what last piece of advice do you have for people in life? As a mom, let's hit that.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah. My last piece of advice I will put my mothering / CEO hat on, is to prioritize what you really want most in life. Be clear on that, because then all the answers to all the things becomes crystal clear. Can you do this? No, I can't. That's not in line with my priorities. Can you do this? Absolutely, because that fits perfectly with where I'm trying to go and accomplish in my life. And so that's the best advice that I've been given in my recent years, and what I try to impart upon everyone else. Be clear in your priorities, and everything else is easy.
Okay, so one more question. I just don't want to let you go.
This
is so good. Someone who is a realtor, no matter what company they're with, they're a realtor right now, and let's say they're at the $10 million mark, and they're thinking about bringing on some people. They're thinking about some leverage.
Yes.
What should they do first?
So your absolute first hire should be an admin, without question. Even if that's just, there's all these amazing virtual TCs nowadays. I'll give a little plug from my girl, Elizabeth Naylor at Admin Angels, because she saved my business in a challenging spot. So I owe a lot to her. Get that support, right? I can tell you a little story. The night I needed to make that shift, I was at about $7.5 million as an individual agent. Called my spouse, said, I'm going to be home. My one baby was 1.5 years, and I had a newborn son. I said, I'm almost done. I'll be home. And he said, oh, don't worry about it. Take your time. Everybody's asleep. Okay. Guess what I was doing, Kara? Nope. I was putting in paperwork for compliance. Okay. So I missed putting my kids to bed because I was trying to upload a floor plan so I could get paid at my closing tomorrow. And that, for me, I didn't have a coach, nobody guiding me. The next morning, I went to online resources and I posted the job, because there was no amount of money or anything on that side of life that was going to make me miss putting my babies to bed. And that's when I learned about leverage. And man, it has never stopped from that day. I will leverage everything I can, to, again, prioritize, right? My clients are important. My team is important. My goals are important. And so is my family.
Probably most important.
Without a doubt. Yes. Myself, my relationship with myself, source, God first, my relationship with my spouse second, and my family, my business after that.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. And Keller Williams supports that in what way? What is Keller Williams' motto?
God, family, business, in that order.
And do you find that the leadership is that a real thing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, though something gets canceled because somebody's family is a priority, everybody understands, right? It really does come down to what's important. I was fortunate enough to spend someone's last day with them recently while they were dying, and got the opportunity to ask him some real questions, And at the end of the day, on our deathbed, that is what matters, our relationship with ourselves, our source, whatever that may be, and our family, and the business is just the blessing on top.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Ashley, thank you so much.
Thanks,
this has
Kara.
been a blessing.
I appreciate you.
Really appreciate you doing this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.